عن استعدادنا لاستضافة هذا المؤتمر. أشكركم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
باسم الجمعية العامة أود أن أشكر صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم بن حمد الثاني أمير دولة قطر على الكلمة التي أدلى بها، وأرجو من الممثلين البقاء في مقاعدهم أثناء تحيتنا لسموه. The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Hassan Rouhani, President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency, the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Mr. Hassan Rouhani, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Praise be to God, the Lord of the universe, and peace and blessings be upon the messenger of God and his family and companions. Madam President, I take this opportunity to felicitate your election to the presidency of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly. We have assembled here today as the world is suffering from recklessness and disregard of some states for international values and institutions. The message of our presence here is that the preservation of interest and security in the world in the least costly manner is solely possible through the cooperation of and coordination among countries.
اما متاسفانه در جهان امروز شاهد حاکمانی هستیم که فکر می‌کنند با تقویت ناسیونالیسم افراطی، نژاد پرستی و بیگانه ستیزی که یادآور تفکر نازی هاست و با زیر پا گذاشتن مقررات جهانی و تضعیف سازمان‌های بین المللی بهتر می‌توانند به منافع خود دست یابند و یا حداقل برای کوتاه مدت می‌توانند بر احساسات عمومی و جذب آراء مردم تأثیر بگذارند و برای این منظور به نمایش‌های مضحکی حتی در قالب تشکیل جلسه غیرمعمول شورای امنیت دست میزنند. باید برای همیشه این خیال پردازی را کنار بگذاریم که میتوان با سلب امنیت و صلح از دیگران صلح و امنیت بیشتری را برای خود دست و پا کرد. باید مجال رشد به این تفکر را ندهیم که میتوان با ایجاد ناامنی ساختگی از دیگران باج‌خواهی کرد. در این مسیر مقابله با چند جانب گرایی نه نشانه قدرت بازو که علامت ضعف اندیشه است و حکایت از عدم شناخت از جهانی در هم تنیده و پیچیده دارد. در این شرایط بی‌تفاوتی و بی‌اثری نهادهای بین المللی می‌تواند خطری برای صلح جهانی باشد که دولت‌های اقتدارگرا دشمنان صلح و پدران جنگ هستند. دولت ایالات متحده آمریکا دست کم در صورت هیئت حاکمه فعلی خود عزم آن دارد که کلیه نهادهای بین المللی را بیخاصیت سازد. این دولت در حالی که برخلاف قواعد و حقوق بین الملل از یک توافق چند جانبه مصوب شورای امنیت خارج شده، جمهوری اسلامی ایران را به گفتگوی دو جانبه می‌خواند. دولتی که هنوز به دولت بودن خود آگاه نیست و عهد و پیمان سلف خود را نقض می کند و اصل حقوقی مسئولیت دائمی دولت‌ها را نمی شناسد، به مشورت نخبگان بها نمی دهد، آنگاه از ایران می خواهد با او گفتگو کند. ما با چه معیاری می توانیم با چنین دولت بدعهدی عهد جدیدی ببندیم؟ هر گونه گفتگویی باید در تداوم برجام و قطعنامه 2231 شورای امنیت باشد، نه با اعراض از آن و بازگشت به گذشته که این ارتجاعی بزرگ است. ارتجاع بزرگتر آن که دولت آمریکا پنهان نمی کند که در پی براندازی همون دولتی است که خواستار گفتگو با آن است. حضار محترم، رویکرد جمهوری اسلامی ایران در حوزه سیاست خارجی همواره مبتنی بر چند جانبه گرایی و پایبندی به اصول شناخته شده حقوق بین الملل بوده است. احترام ما به معاهده عدم اشاعه و مذاکرات سخت و طولانی ما با 5 به اضافه 1 که منجر به توافق برجام شد، نمونه بارزی از این رویکرد است. خرسندیم که جامعه بین المللی خروج یک جانبه و غیرقانونی دولت آمریکا از برجام را بر نتافت و در برابر آن موضعی قاطع اتخاذ نمود. برجام حاصل بیش از یک دهه تلاش دیپلماتیک و یک دور مذاکرات فشرده برای رفع یک بحران ساختگی بود. این سند توسط قطعنامه 2231 شورای امنیت به اتفاق آرا تأیید و به تعهدی بین المللی تبدیل شد. بر اساس این قطعنامه همه کشورها و سازمانهای بین المللی و منطقه‌ای موظفند از هر اقدامی در مغایرت با آن خودداری کرده و از اجرای برجام حمایت نمایند. بر پایه 12 گزارش متوالی آژانس بین المللی انرژی اتمی، ایران تا به امروز به کلیه تعهدات خود پایبند بوده است. لکن آمریکا از همان ابتدا به اجرای تعهداتش وفادار نماند و متعاقباً دولت فعلی آمریکا به بهانه‌های واهی با نقض تعهدات خود از این توافق خارج شد. سازمان ملل متحد نباید اجازه دهد که مصوباتش گروگان بازی‌های انتخاباتی و تبلیغاتی برخی از اعضا گردد و به هیچ عضوی نباید اجازه داد که به دلیل مسائل داخلی از اجرای تعهدات بین المللی شانه خالی کند. علاوه بر این، آمریکا از سایر کشورها نیز می‌خواهد برجام را نقض کنند. خطرناکتر آنکه آمریکا همه کشورها و سازمانهای بین المللی را تهدید می‌کند که اگر به قطعنامه 2231 شورای امنیت عمل کنند مجازات خواهند شد.
It is the first time in the history of the United Nations that such a general invitation to violation of law is coupled with threatening law abiders with punishment. This is not just peculiar to the JCPOA, but a pattern that even applies to the U.S. approach to the International Criminal Court.
ما از حمایت جامعه جهانی و تلاش‌های اتحادیه اروپا، روسیه و چین در حمایت از اجرای برجام قدردانی کرده و تحقق کامل تعهدات مصرح در آن را شرط بقای این دستاورد مهم دیپلماسی می‌دانیم. خانم ها آقایان، تحریم های یک جانبه و نامشروع خود نوعی تروریسم اقتصادی و ناقض حق توسعه است. جنگ اقتصادی که آمریکا تحت عنوان تحریم های تازه آغاز کرده، نه تنها مردم ایران را هدف قرار داده، بلکه آثار زیانباری برای مردم کشورهای دیگر داشته و در روند تجارت جهانی اخلال کرده است. ملت ایران در خلال 40 سال گذشته نشان داده که علیرغم سختی‌ها و تنگناهای ناشی از تحریم‌ها همچنان مقاوم است و می‌تواند از این مرحله دشوار نیز به خوبی عبور کند. تاریخ هزاران ساله کشور ما نشان می‌دهد که ایران و ایرانی در مقابل طوفان حوادث هرگز نشکسته و حتی سر خم نکرده است. در اینجا به صراحت اعلام می‌کنم که سیاست آمریکا در قبال جمهوری اسلامی ایران از ابتدا غلط بود.
And its approach of resisting the wishes of the Iranian people, as manifested in numerous elections, is doomed to failure. Iran, with its historical and civilizational longevity, rich cultural heritage, and foremost geopolitical position, is an undeniable reality. The policy of engagement and cooperation with Iran has produced positive outcomes for other nations, as best reflected in Iran's cooperation with friendly countries in the fight against terrorism. The United States' understanding of international relations is authoritarian. In its estimation, might makes right. Its understanding of power, not of legal and legitimate authority, is reflected in bullying and imposition. No state and nation can be brought to the negotiating table by force, and if so, what follows is the accumulation in the grapes of wrath of those nations to be reaped later by the oppressors. We concur that at the end of the day, there is no better way but dialogue. However, dialogue is two ways. It should be based on equality, justice, and human integrity and honor, and conducted in accordance with the rules and norms of international law. The United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231 is not a piece of paper. We invite you to return to that council resolution. We invite you to come back to the negotiating table you left. If you dislike the JCPOA because it is the legacy of your domestic political rivals, then we invite you to come back to the Security Council resolution. We invite you to remain in the international institutions. Do not engage in imposing sanctions. Sanctions and extremism are two sides of the same coin. Extremism involves negating the thinking of others, and sanctions negate the life and prosperity of people. For dialogue to take place, there is no need for a photo opportunity. The two sides can listen to each other right here in this assembly. I am starting the dialogue right here and state in unequivocal terms that the question of international security is not a toy in American domestic politics. The United Nations is not a part of the United States administration. Dialogue can resume in this assembly from the same point and by the same person who left the dialogue table and walked away from the accord. Beginning the dialogue starts with ending threats and unjust sanctions that negate the principles of ethics and international law. Our proposal is clear: commitment for commitment, violation for violation, threat for threat, and step for step, instead of talk for talk. What Iran says is clear: no war, no sanctions, no threats, no bullying, just acting according to the law and the fulfillment of obligations. We support peace and democracy in the entire Middle East. We consider nuclear knowledge an imperative and nuclear weapons prohibited. As victims of terrorism in the past and today, we have always been and will always remain in the forefront of genuine confrontation with terrorism. Today, we mourn the martyrdom of tens of innocent people who were recently murdered on Saturday in cold blood by terrorists who shamelessly accepted responsibility from a number of Western capitals for their heinous crime. In interviews with some Western-based broadcasting outfits that are financed by petrodollars. In Iran, we have condemned all acts of terrorism without equivocation and will continue to do so. We welcome the strong statement from the Security Council on this issue. But why can the leaders of these terrorist operations, including the organization that has publicly claimed responsibility for Saturday's crime, live and operate freely in Western countries and even openly solicit funds? Are these activities not in violation of international counterterrorism norms? Why have the official state financiers of anti-Iranian terrorist organizations with a record of financing Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and al-Nusra not only been spared any punishment but are supported and armed? If you want the world public to take your claim of fighting terrorism seriously, it is imperative to start a joint global campaign to fight this scourge, irrespective of the victims or culprits. Distinguished colleagues, in the same vein, from the very beginning of the crisis in Syria, we have warned against any foreign intervention in the internal affairs of this country and the use of unlawful means, including supporting extremist and terrorist groups in order to exert pressure on the government of Syria, and have consistently emphasized that the crisis can only be resolved through intra-Syrian dialogue. To this end, the presence of our military advisors in Syria has been at the request of the Syrian government and consistent with international law, and has aimed at assisting the Syrian government in combating extremist terrorism. Iran, Russia, and Turkey, in cooperation with the government of Syria and other Syrian parties, have succeeded through the Astana process, the third summit meeting of which took place in Tehran earlier this month, in playing a positive role in reducing tensions in Syria, and in their last common effort have prevented escalation and bloodshed in the Idlib region. We have witnessed a tragic humanitarian catastrophe in Yemen over the past 3 years, which has caused the destruction of infrastructure, the killing and injury of hundreds of thousands, the displacement of millions of innocent people, and the occurrence of widespread famine and chronic disease. These inhuman acts represent clear examples of crimes against humanity and war crimes. The crisis in Yemen can be resolved solely through intra-Yemeni talks and without foreign interference. And to this end, we are ready to assist in any possible way. The most pressing crisis in the Middle East, however, is the question of Palestine. The passage of time cannot and must not justify occupation. The innumerable crimes of Israel against the Palestinians would not have been possible without the material and military assistance and political and propaganda support of the United States. Israel, equipped with a nuclear arsenal and blatantly threatening others with nuclear annihilation, presents the most daunting threat to regional and global peace and stability. The abhorrent U.S. decision to transfer its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem and the recent enactment of the racist Jewish state law are violations of international law and norms and unmistakable manifestations of apartheid. Madam President, the expansion of relations with neighbors and the creation of a more secure and more developed region are among the main priorities of Iran's foreign policy. A few weeks ago, Iran, along with other 4 coastal states, signed the Convention on the Legal Status of the Caspian Sea, which will strengthen good neighborliness and bring prosperity and progress for all of the coastal states. We also desire the same relations with our southern neighbors in the Persian Gulf. We believe in the formation of a collective mechanism for the Persian Gulf region with the presence and participation of all regional countries. The security of the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz has always been important for us, and just as we defended this security during the war imposed on us by Iraq, we will confront any and all disruptive efforts in this critical waterway in the future. We espouse a peaceful view in political and international issues and have not sought, nor do we seek, war with any country. Iran does not need an empire. Iran is an empire in terms of its civilization and its culture, not through political domination. Iran has served as the link between East and West and will continue to do so, remaining a meticulous guardian for a world free from violence. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the same state that understood the fascistic nature of the Ba'athist regime in Iraq before anyone else in the world and bravely persisted its aggression against us. We fought against the Ba'ath Party of Iraq before Kuwait was occupied by it. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the same state that was on the forefront of the struggle against Taliban terrorism and gave up martyrs in that struggle. We fought against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban before the attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the same state that fought against Daesh, a fake, distorted representation of Islam. We were engaged in the fight against Daesh before their operations in Paris, London, and Brussels. Appreciate these historical realities about Iran. Quit imposing sanctions and end extremism. The world will not have a better friend than Iran if peace is what you seek. I thank you for your attention.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank His Excellency Hassan Rouhani, President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, for the statements just made. May I request the representatives to remain seated while we greet His Excellency.
This is the secondary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the secondary audio circuit for the Reuters live service.